This is an unusual job I'm getting ready to tackle. This is a Rascher tenor sax mouthpiece. Had been refaced by Larry Wyman. So the owner has more money into it than $160 new purchase price. Facing's resistant, as most classical pieces are, since the tip opening's only like 0.77 inches. The problem is he's got a crack, and it starts here, extends on the inside to about here. I had to put some steel wool on here to let the crack show up. Picks up again about here, and then goes all the way through here and goes all the way up to the top. On the other side, you know, it's about from here to here, here to here. It's not exactly lined up, but that is the same crack. So someone tried to fill this with crazy glue. That won't work. You can't split this apart enough to wick in some crazy glue. And the owner is worried that this is going to crack on him, and he doesn't have a good backup for it. So I said, you know, for $50, I tried breaking it off and reattaching it and making sure the facing got back to where it was. I really wanted him to play it and have a backup and just play it, because I thought it was, you know, held on there pretty solid. But I'm seeing now that I tried flexing it with my finger, and I can actually see it move. So that won't move while you're beating a reed on it, but I can see it move now. What I'm going to do is put a scratch on the inside to try to connect the two. I probably don't need to do this, but you know, this will give a place for my bending stresses to originate from. And I'm going to try to give this just a little break. I have pliers if I need it, but I see the crack is actually below where I scratched on the right side. I hear a little bit. Yeah, it wants to crack deeper, so I'm kind of fighting. Yep, there's another crack on this side that's also deeper. So this is my fear. I kind of said, fear of the unknown. You don't know how it's going to propagate, but it wants to crack here and here. And let's see, I get a little more. Maybe I'll help it crack where it wants to crack with this. So I'm just, whoops. There we go. Okay, got it off in one piece, but now the dilemma I have is I have a split here, and that doesn't go all the way through. So I'm hoping where I scratched it is going to stay strong, and then I'll just be able to reattach it here. Now, I found out with clean brakes like this, they don't go back together like China all the time, because what happens is there might be some stresses in the hard rubber that relieve themselves, and the edges kind of deform a little bit. So even though they kind of go back together, you need a adhesive in there that fills the gap. Crazy glue regular won't do it. Crazy glue gel might. I'm going to actually use JB Weld and put it together that way, and then fix it up from there. So I've never had rarely have a JB Weld that fails. So we'll do that. Okay, I'm getting ready to reattach it. Got equal parts of JB Weld put out here. Well, I got a little more white than black, so just got to pull in some of the white. This is way more than I need, so. This is a slow setting epoxy, and it kind of mimics hard rubber when it's set up. So I use it for repairs, like chip repairs. This is one that I started on a clarinet mouthpiece yesterday. So it fills chips, and you can shape it. I got videos on that. Anyhow, so I got some of this mixed up. I'll wet it. probably more than I need to. Yeah, I could probably just let that go without clamping. I was thinking of clamping it, but this may do more harm than good. I'm not sure. Let me see if I like it like this. Maybe just some light pressure. Yeah. Clamps and light pressure don't mix. All right. That's pretty good. Maybe I'll clean off that bead a little later, or maybe I could try it now. Probably comes out easier once it's dry, really. But maybe I'll get a little wet wipey and try to clean that off. So it looks like we got a bead all the way through the crack, all the way around, and so rather than, if you mess with it too much, you screw it up. So I'll probably just clean a little bit of it off and show you later how I smooth it out. Okay, here we are the next morning. Let's see what we got. Get rid of the clamp. Yeah. Only smeared a little bit, left the rest to chip off this morning. Start with a pocket knife. That's pretty flush, so it has to be sanded off, the rest of that. Okay, have a riffler file here. Riffler means it's bent, and it's a needle file because it's small. It's got a slight arch on this one. So some material is going to stay there because I think the crack edges might have needed some material to fill it in. Let's see, that's a 300 grit. Let me get a new piece. So this feels like it's held on there real tight. Hopefully I won't have to do a ton of refacing work on it. Some 600. It's too fine. I need a fresh one of those also. Oops. Yeah, there's a little crack right there at the corner that it's got a small amount of epoxy oozing out. I'll clean that up mostly with a little light facing work. Steel wool on the inside. Outside. Okay. Let's do a little check on the facing. It was a little crooked before I snapped it off. So let's check this 63 feeler. It was like 5.6 to 6 before. It's not any worse. If anything, it might be better. You know, before it was a bit like this, and now it depends on. I get 6.8, 6 point. That's 6.9, 6 point. No, 5.9 and 5.7 or so. So, might have moved a little. Not too bad. The rest of it should be okay from here down, so I only have to worry about lightly cleaning up that area, and it might be a little straighter than it was before. Maybe it was flexing when I first measured it. So I'll work on this cosmetically a little bit more, and some polishing compound, and show you the result in a bit. It's lightly crooked. This corner's a little high. Yeah, 6 and 5.9. It's better than it was before. 11. The rest kind of leans a little to the right. I'll give it a swipe all the way down the right side since it was a little crooked. I'm not going to do a full reface job because that's not what I charged for, but that'll be pretty close. I go down here, spot check, go down a little further, spot check. It's not bad. Go back to 63. Could use a little more. That's pretty close to right on. A little bit of polishing compound, finish it off. Did some light, very light facing work and tip rail shaping. This is a lightly abrasive polish, kind of like a automotive rubbing compound. Just gets the scratches out from the steel wool. I'll probably take it to a buffing wheel right after this. Okay, there's the final result, all polished up. You see a little hairline where it was all went back together. Pretty much went as planned.